I don't normally talk about gaming news too often, but I gotta chime in on this one. Nintendo has been on the chopping block as of late, being ridiculed for the price of the Nintendo Switch, the $80 price tag on Mario Kart World, and the pre-orders being canceled. I've seen people all over Reddit complaining and bitching about the price of the Nintendo Switch, but I say, can you blame them? I say Nintendo has nobody to blame but themselves. Now, before I go completely bashing Nintendo, I think that they made a smart move that is pro-consumer, and we're going to discuss that at the end of this video. Let's be real. Nintendo has been anti-consumer for some time, and I think most of us can agree on that. When the original Switch released, their launch titles were all pretty much titles from the previous generation, the Wii U. That wasn't too big of a deal, seeing where most people didn't own a Wii U. It was the fact that the price carried over. It was still like Mario Kart was $60. Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild was still $60. These were just games that they ported over to the Nintendo Switch. I know they tried to justify it by saying Mario Kart had a couple of new tracks, or at least the downloadable tracks were included in the game. But that price clung to the Mario Kart game and most of Nintendo's IPs for years after that. Games that have been out since 2017, 8 years ago, which is also the lifespan of the Nintendo Switch, that Nintendo drug out for 5 years longer than the competition to pretty much bleed their customer dry of money. We must not forget Nintendo's online service, which had a sloppy launch and lack of features that the competition has had, like voice chat, cloud saves, and a robust game library. You had to pay extra for N64 games and Game Boy Advance when they finally released, and they called it an expansion pack. Funny enough, all these features are now on the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo. The competition has had this for a decade or more. I guess better late than never. Nintendo announced that the Switch 2 was going to be around $450, but shortly after pulled the pre-orders and then said the price would possibly raise to about $500 or $550 due to tariffs. Naturally, people had feelings about that, which kind of put Nintendo between a rock and a hard place. I didn't pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2, and we're going to get into why that is a little bit later in the video. Nintendo finally did something that I personally believe was pro-consumer, finally. They said that the console was going to remain the $450 price. Mario Kart World is going to remain the $80 that they initially announced, and some of the accessories are going to go up in price. I'd much rather the accessories go up in price than the console. Well, pre-orders took place on the 23rd or 24th, depending on the retailer, and from what I heard, it was kind of a mess. Nintendo themselves said that if you pre-ordered it from their website, it was probably not going to make the official release date, which was June 5th. Well, would you look at that? A bunch of ported games to the Nintendo Switch 2 from the original Switch at $80. I know. Enhanced graphics. Personally, I did not pre-order the Nintendo Switch, despite really wanting one. Why, you ask? Well, because I have all of these original Nintendo Switch games, most which are sealed, that need the seal broken and shown some love. And trust me, these aren't even all of them. Some of them are sitting in random bins. God, I really gotta clean this desk, and my hair's all screwed up, man. I'm a mess. I want to leave you with one thing to ponder. These companies hold the power. People complain about the price, but then because of FOMO or the need to have the latest and greatest, even though they don't agree with the price, they buy it anyway. Companies know that. Just imagine if we all banded together, stood up, and didn't buy it. What do you think those companies are going to do now? Look, I grew up with Nintendo. My first console was the NES. I have a really soft spot in my heart for Nintendo's IPs, but honestly, they are rapidly approaching a fate similar to Sega. I'm going to call it now. I personally think that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be Nintendo's last console. Let me know below. Did you pre-order the Switch? And if you did not pre-order the Switch, why? Also, do you think that Nintendo has actually been anti-consumer for years? As for now, I'll see you in the next one.
Guys, instead of staring at my ugly mug, why don't you go ahead and check out one of our other videos? 1, 2, I'll wait. My busted face ain't going nowhere.